I'm all set here. I am always inspired by people who not only pour their hearts into handmade work, but take the time to share their artistry online. And we live in an amazing and fortunate time as creatives where we can just, at the click of a button, pull up videos made by creatives from all around the world. And today I want to share 6 inspiring craftspeople with you. These are people who've inspired and informed me along my own creative journey. And while all are well known in the crafting world, I wanted to share how they've particularly helped me in my journey. If perchance you haven't come across these people, then I hope that you will spend some time just going to their channels and taking a look. I guarantee you that you will learn something. I've not put these in any particular order. I know none of these people personally, and I'm getting no compensation of any kind for sharing this information. I just love their demonstrated kindness to viewers like myself, their generosity in sharing their specific talents, and their unique teaching skills and methods. Each one of them has helped me to grow and to change and to improve my own skills as a crafter, for which I am incredibly grateful. Now, I'm not going to show you screenshots of their channels because I have not reached out to them personally to ask if I could do that. And I don't think that that would be appropriate for me, even to show still shots of their channels without asking them. But I don't have any fear that they'll be unhappy about me talking about how they've encouraged me. I am going to put the channel information on the screen for each of these as you go through the reviews, and you can open the description information for this video, my video, and access links that take you directly to the people I'm reviewing, to their channels and their websites. And while we're doing that, while I'm doing this little evaluation, it's a review. While I do this review, and really it's a thank you letter. When I do this thank you letter, I'm going to also cut out some things because I'm working on a little project that I'll show you later, not today, but I'll show you once I've gotten one done, and then maybe you might be interested in how I do that. And so I'll think about doing a video while I'm putting this together later. These are little Altoid tins. I have some Altoid tins, but they all have the raised Altoid lettering, and that's kind of a pain in the rear to get rid of. You can, and it's no big deal. I suppose there's some vintage value in having an old Altoid tin, but honestly, these work just as well, and they're not such a hassle to prep. And that's important when you get busy. Also, I wanted to tell you, here locally, Michael's and, primarily Michael's, is going through a shift up in my area. They're getting rid of some things, and they've got signs up everywhere to stay tuned for more. I'm a little bit worried, and this is not going to segue into a Michael's review, although I might do a review of Michael's and Hobby Lobby and my favorite onlines at some point. But it looks to me like they're following Hobby Lobby's train of thought and showing more and more housewares, ready-mades than they used to, rather than craft items. And there's a lot of their craft area that they're downsizing. And that's what I'm seeing going up in their spot. Now, of course, they had to change some space in order to, and I'm sorry my voice is so scratchy today. I don't know exactly why. But I noticed that they were, that with their Joann's fabric that they acquired, that they're trying to make more space for that. I don't know if they're reading into something in terms of the big world of crafting, and they think that something like home goods and sewing are going to become the new item. I don't know what the rationale is. I'll do a little looking around, and if I come up with anything, I'll share what I learned. But in the meantime, long story short, there's a lot of stuff they're putting on clearance. I went back and got quite a few things there that I'm using in some crafts, like these little guys were $3. But when I got up front and actually checked out, they were only $2. So I'm going to make some little Halloween mussie tussies out of those, and I'll show you that too whenever I have some made. But there were quite a number of things. I got this paint was on sale for $3, and I use this paint a lot for crafts. There were other things. There was a lot of resin. I don't know if that's kind of come and gone, or they're just getting rid of theirs. There's a lot of molds. There were still some things that even in the discount area were ridiculously overpriced, and I don't know who does that pricing, but I've noticed it in every Michael's store, so it's not just one locally. There's all the ones I go to, there's some things that they seem to think that they're not worth having on their shelves, but they don't want to come down in the price. So I always think that's odd. If you want to get rid of it, get rid of it. But if you're offering it for really hardly anything less than what you get, and the packaging is starting to look pretty soiled and run over, that always seems to me kind of a weird trade-off. But anyway, I digress. So just to know, if there's certain things that you're looking for in Michael's, you might want to take a look back in their sales are all over the place, but they're also gathering up big bunches of things and putting them on those carts in the middle of the aisles. But on the shelves themselves, there's a lot that they're putting up. I've noticed they've not improved their paper section at all. And so it appears to me that may be something that's, I don't know, maybe it's tariffs or the fear of tariffs, and they can't get things from China or whatever, but there's just really a dearth of quality in terms of paper at Michael's, in my opinion. Tools are pretty good, but paper's really awful from my point of view. So anyway, back to what I was going to do. None of the fault of any of these wonderful people that I'm going to review. I've not put this in any particular order because, like I say, I know none of them. There's no compensation. Every single one of them is a #1 in my book. And this, of course, is not the only group of people that I have loved and have helped me so much as I think through what I want to do as an artisan crafter. But I couldn't make the video as long as a lifetime. So the first one I'm going to start with is somebody you all probably know, is the Posh Paper Lady. And her name is Sherry, her first name, and I'm only sharing the first names that they provide. She has a true paper engineering skill set that I just love, because it is so completely alien to me personally. And you may actually sympathize with that, I don't know. But I seem to be missing some part of my brain that would allow me to fairly easily come up with measurements and retain them in my head. I just don't seem to be able to pull that off. So, excuse me while I reach behind me. I'll probably edit this out. I got to get a pair of scissors to work on something while I'm talking. So, she is my all-time favorite go-to, even when I don't want to craft what she's crafting, because I just love her style. I love to hear her voice. I love the way she teaches. I love her sense of humor. And I love, love, love that her brain is so different from the way mine works. And I like to this sounds awful. I'm a paper waster. I like to, when she's doing something that I particularly want to remember, I go down to the comments and really, I mean, not the comments, but the description, and I scrape that. I save it, and then I get rid of everything that's just conversation or even that's instructions, unless there's a bit that's really important for my brain. Because once I've seen it, then I can do it, but I can't remember certain measurement things. And so I go and cut all those out, and then I sit down and I can work the project, and I just love that. So quite often I'll watch her video first so I know what I'm doing, but then I'll go, and if it's something I really want to learn how to exactly do it, that's the way I approach it. And I keep all that paper, so. But she's very adaptable. She always tells cool ways to make it work if you don't have something, and so she is my all-time go-to. She's always encouraging viewers to add their own personality and not just follow her like a rote thing, and I really love that. The second one I want to mention is treasure books, and Natasha creates the most drop-dead gorgeous journals I have ever seen. She uses a lot of fun and unique paper and fabrics and embellishments, and I am incredibly jealous of her stash. I love the way she teaches. She's very easy to follow, and she has a lot of things that she'll share as she's working along with you, and she'll say, this isn't really important, it's just something I like to do. And I always appreciate that in a creator, because I don't want to get sucked down a rabbit hole for details. I want to see mainly the big picture and the general guidance, and so she doesn't get lost in that process, and I really appreciate that. And she covers a lot of different things, which is really, really cool. So I think anyone, whether you've ever done a journal, or you are afraid to jump into journal making, or you just want to learn how to make cool little junk journal ephemera things, or if you just want to make cards, she's got a little bit of everything. She also has a really encouraging and inexpensive book that she put out, and I don't think she's got any others. I think it's only one, but I will put the name of the book, and I got it, and it's really one of those that I love it for inspiration. And I'm not going to do a lot of super major in-depth junk journals. That's just not my thing, but I so appreciate seeing it happen, and that gives me ideas for so many other things. The third person I want to mention is Bourbon Creek Crafts. And Beth, who is the person who I mainly see on that channel, although I understand that it is both she and her husband who do a lot of the designs and creating the products. But they do other things, like a lot of wooden signs and things of that nature. But what I follow her for is the paper crafting. And she also does some craft show projects, and I've always liked those, because she shares very openly that, hey, if you can make this and make some money off of it, here's how I do it, and then go add yourself to it. And I really appreciate that. And her file folder, her nail file holder is one of the best ones out there. It's super, super easy. She's cut out all the extraneous details, because if you're making those to sell or give away, you don't want to put a whole lot of money in them, because you're not going to get a whole lot of money for them. And so she's really pared it down in a way that makes it very affordable to do and very quick to do, which adds to it making it affordable. I have always... Well, no, I have not always. I have a very long aversion to making cards. And part of that came about because I very naively got involved in a couple of what I call turnkey business opportunities that ended up costing me loads of money and taught me very little. And my focus became on these really generic styles of cards that were very pretty, but they were expensive to make, and they were not horribly adaptable. It was one of those things where after you've used a stamp set a couple of times, they're so generic that you no longer really want to use them, but they wanted you to keep buying things and making things. You know the kinds of companies I'm talking about. Anyway, I burned myself out on that. And I just hated cards. I hated the idea. I didn't even want to fold a card. It bothered me so much. But watching her inspired me because she does these pad busting videos. And she takes a pad and she goes through the whole thing and shows you how you can make all these different cards. And that may not be news to anybody that's listening to my video, but it was just awesome for me to learn how to do that. And it wasn't long before I was crafting along with her, and it just gave me lots more ideas about how I wanted to do cards. And I realized I could do my own cards that I wanted to make with my own designs. And again, I know that sounds so stupid, because why wouldn't you? But you get into this frame of mind especially when you're working with certain kinds of products that you feel like if you err and go outside the rules, whatever those are, that somehow your stuff is just not going to be quality. And I've done that to myself many times over in many oddball business things, because I just seem to have that need to belong to something, I guess. I did it to myself with decorative painting, and the artists themselves aren't doing that to you. I just do it to myself. But now I ran across it's another story, but I ran across a person who in decorative painting who threw all the rules out and said, well, why are you doing that way? Do it the way you want to. And it freed me up, and now I can't go back. I can do the hard stuff if I want to for some reason, but I just don't want to for any other reason. I just don't. And the same thing happened with Beth at Bourbon Creek Crafts. She is an excellent teacher. She's very clear in her instructions. And if you want to just follow along just what she does, she gives you these terrific printouts you can use so that you can reuse them and follow along. But she really set me free. And she has a really fun sense of humor. And she demonstrates more than cards, and I love her. Like I said, I love her other projects as well, but it was her cards that impacted me, because they freed me up from being so tied up with the process of proper card making. And and she gave me a new way of looking at cards. And my fourth person is Pink Strawberries. And her name that she shares is Kim. And I discovered her during the pandemic. And although she's been on YouTube for 9 years, I just was poking around a lot, as all of us were, looking for things to inspire and give me courage and hope, and came across her, and I just found her delightful. She's very feminine, and her style is just, it's not all frou-frou stuff. It just has a femininity to it that I really, really enjoyed. It's not something native to my personality, and it really added another dimension when I look at things and how I create things, and I really just loved it. And again, she's very, very good at teaching. She has a real laid back way of creating from paper and a few embellishments versus using a big focus on non-paper items. And I found her work especially helpful to me, although it wasn't that she was teaching that directly, but in making my junk journals, because her way of folding the cardstock to make different kinds of pockets and things, doing tuck-ins and all of that, really informed the way I want and enjoy doing my junk journals. And so that was an extra plus. She creates quite a few short videos, which are extremely helpful, you know, where they're 20 minutes or so when you're just going to be able to take a quick sit down to have some lunch or whatever, and you need a tea break or whatever. You can watch one of her videos, and it's easy enough to follow that I don't have to, I can even make her stuff without measurements. It's just really, really easy to follow along with her and get the idea and then go off on your own. And my fifth is a little departure from the others. This is Karen Elaine. And Karen, she was one that I also discovered during the pandemic. I had looked at her at different times because of the way I was doing searches before the pandemic, but she just, well, now I take that back. I'm not sure I ever saw her before the pandemic. At any rate, she does origami, and she does painting, and she does other kinds of paper crafts. And I have never done origami for the same reason that I found the Posh Paper Lady so fascinating, because it's real, it always seemed to me intimidating in the sense of, if you can't visualize where something's going to turn and how it's going to look, then it's going to be really hard for you to do. I found out that's not exactly true, that you do have to stick with certain kinds of measurements, but she breaks it down in a way that makes it super easy. She has these little warrior dolls that are just awesome. When you look at the picture, you think, oh, there's no way. But I sat down and followed her, and I was able to do it. Now, I don't think I could do it on my own, but I could follow her, and they were delightful. But one of the things, in fact, I'll show you one of the things that I made. I did a little video of making these little watercolor things. These are just my little designs. I was working for a specific need when I made these, but this little thing is a folded origami that I learned from Karen Elaine. It's so simple, and you can embellish it a lot, or you can, you know, you can stick this inside a journal. There's just a lot of ways you can use these little things, and so I really have enjoyed watching her. And I love her own paper. She has designed some of her own origami paper, and it is so cool because when you fold it into her designs that she shares, it looks fantastic no matter which way you look at it. And you can find, papers, scrapbook papers to just fine. But she's just done, I think, a lot of origami herself. And so she puts a fresh spin on the origami papers, and that really has been a lot of fun. She's got also one of the most soothing voices, and she teaches at this really relaxed pace. I mean, I feel afterwards like I come out of her videos feeling like I've been meditating. It's just so relaxed, and you've got all your creative juices flowing in such a gentle way. And so I strongly recommend her. And I really, honestly, I recommend her if you're going through a tough spell for whatever reason, and you want to just fold something simple. She takes you through it step by step by step, so slow, and her voice is so comforting. I don't think there's anybody who could sit down and just do that for a little bit with her and not come away feeling refreshed. And last but in no way least, I want to recommend Crafty Crafts by Deanna. Deanna is someone I discovered during the pandemic. And I didn't know at the time that she was a fellow Texan and doesn't actually live that far away. I've never met her in person, but she started mentioning some shows she goes to. And so then I looked up, where she lives and all. I mean, where she's crafting from and all. And so got to see that she's actually right around the neighborhood. But her videos are so welcoming. She is down to earth, and she's funny, and she's sweet, and she's got that wonderful Texas voice, and I just thoroughly enjoy her. I feel like when I go to her channel that I'm going downstairs with her. I think it's downstairs, but I'm going down with her to her little crafting area, and we're just going to sit down and have a little chit chat together, and I just love it. She goes to craft fairs, and she does several series on craft fairs throughout her annual projects on YouTube, and she's really got good advice. She's been doing it, I gather, for quite some time, and so I think that she's a must watch if you are, especially if you're in the Texas area. But I think in general, if you're thinking about getting into the craft world of shows, or the art world of shows for that matter, I think she's someone that would be a great video for you to watch and listen to, and gain from her experience, because she's really very good at what she shares. She's very honest, and she's very candid about the good and the bad and the challenges of preparing for shows. How hard it is sometimes to figure out what you want to take and what you should take, and is it going to sell? And if it is going to sell, how can I make it in a way that I can actually make a profit, because I don't want to just give things away. And she's very good about verbalizing how she's working through those thought processes. I actually was encouraged by her information to try a couple of craft shows, and I did better at the craft shows from having watched her. But what I really learned from the craft shows for me is that wasn't the way I wanted to go. I really like the teaching end of doing crafts as much as selling them. I'm going to put stuff in my little shop, and hopefully some of it'll sell, from time to time. But honestly, I would rather create and teach and show people how to do things and encourage them and let them decide, But I am so grateful to her and to her skill set and knowledge, because it is really important to listen to someone like her who's been there, done that, and they can help you avoid some of the pitfalls that are common, especially when you're starting out. She does a wide range of crafts. I mean, she just does a ton, from paper to sewing, and all sorts, and they're really well made, every single one of them. And so they're fun to watch, and she manages, like I say, to make the frequent viewer just feel like you're coming to visit a friend when you click on the video. And that's not an easy thing to do through the screen. And I think that trait is so very encouraging and inspiring. So kudos to Deanna and all the others that I've mentioned. They have all been such huge contributors to my understanding of what I want to do, how I want to do it, where I want to do it. And even though they don't know me, the very nature of what they create and what they share encourages me on my journey. And that's, to me, the best gift that they give of all, though all their other gifts are substantial. So that's it. And as you can see, I didn't get much accomplished while I was talking, but really my goal on this was really just to give shout outs for these 6 people that I just am so grateful to. And I'd like to do more of these videos if you find them helpful or interesting. I'm just stabbing around in the dark, doing videos of different things that appeal to me and that come up in my imagination and what I want to do. But if there's something you like, you please leave a comment, or something you hate, leave a comment, but don't be mean to me, okay? Because I I don't want to read mean stuff. But leave a comment if you enjoy this type of video and want more, or if you go, I really like that, but I'd really like watching your how-to videos more, and here's a couple of them I'd like to see. Thank you for joining me in celebrating these amazing artists. Supporting the creativity in others and being thankful for that not only uplifts that maker, but it brings more beauty into all our lives. This is an environment where I feel like there is so much opportunity to be blessed by other creators, whether they're on the screen and I'm watching them, or they're in the audience behind and they're encouraging one another. It means so much. I hope you'll take a moment to check out the work of each of these people, and I hope that as you watch it, you'll feel as inspired as I have been. Until next time, keep creating and keep encouraging others. And thank you so much for watching my channel. I appreciate it more than you can imagine. Thank you.